Good afternoon, everyone. I know it took a village to almost get people back into the room, and I hope that we keep you enthralled and captivated and try to promise and make sure that we finish on time. But I think we have an interesting topic, and before we get into the topic, I just wanted to kind of continue to weave the thread of what we've been hearing in the last 1.5 days in terms of disruption, technology, actuarial profession, GCCs, traditional companies, and in the morning we learnt about industries which are very new to how an actuary would pursue versus what it was traditionally supposed to be. And I think GCC definitely is one of them, though it's not an industry by itself. It's a combination of all the areas where an actuary can play a role. Let me also give you a bit of a context before we open the questions for the panel. As you know, GCCs are global capability centers. They are basically nothing but centers of the parent group set up primarily to enhance the transformation and the growth agenda of the parent company, evolving from basically talent to innovation to value addition to a lot of things where a company now heavily relies on the GCCs to move the agenda forward. Just maybe some quick fast facts, and I'm sure you've read this before. Approximately 1,700 GCCs in India, 3,000 centers, approximately $65 billion of revenue, employing just less than 2 million people. And it's a hub for transformation, hub for innovation. There's a nice interplay with all the startup ecosystem that a lot of the bodies are trying to work on. There is a huge focus on AI, Gen AI, ML in this area. And I think a significant number of people are working on these within the GCCs as well. And maybe just to also give you a bit of a futuristic picture, these GCCs are expected to mushroom further, as was witnessed in the budget discussion by the Honorable Finance Minister about the GCC and the national framework that will come into play to further support the GCCs in the next 5 to 10 years. In the last 5 years, thanks to COVID, the age-old myth around distance, proximity, physical proximity, all that has completely gone for a toss with all the GCCs in India literally within 24, 48, 72 hours up and running from home on the 22nd, 23rd of March 2020. So I think if I look at the whole GCC evolution, and if I look at the last 5, 6 years, I think there has been a step up in terms of what GCCs are now doing versus what it was done before. But I should not be the only person talking about it. We have a very esteemed panel of people who've spent a good amount of time in this industry and really taken it to a very different level. So I'll probably start with Jitendra and I'll go to the other panelists as well on some of the opening, I would say, contextual understanding, role, scope of GCCs. What do we see today? How is this evolving? What do you see as the new GCCs doing? What is the success of a GCC? Anything that they can share from their experience so far?
Global capability centers have been around for some time. And over the last 5 years, my experience tells me that the kind of languages that GCCs are talking today is changing. It's changing in terms of the kind of objectives we used to have. Now, I'm part of Marsh McLennan, and Mercer has been around as a global capability center in India for last more than 15 years now. But from my practical experience, I tell you, after COVID especially, the kind of objectives which we are being given by the parent company, by the organization, that's changing. Earlier, I used to talk about how do I manage quality, how do I ensure that people who are delivering from India, are they delivering good quality work, good actuarial analysis. Suddenly, I was asked to manage revenues. How can you earn more revenues? How can you bring about transformation? So there's kind of a shift in mindset. There's a kind of shift in objectives that are being given to global capability centers, and that's driving the entire growth. What I feel is that a good capability center, when we talk about it, should be one that's kind of a small let's say, a sub-segment or microcosm, you can say, of the parent organization. If you have all kind of functions functioning from the global capability centers, then only you can harness the power of what India can offer. India, today, global capability centers come to India essentially because of the talent that exists in India. But you hire the talent for an objective, then you become a good global capability center. And I see that transformation happening in a big way, and that's what, and India is able to deliver on that promise. That's another part of it. And that's what is driving growth in global capability centers today.
Thanks, Jitendra. I'll quickly ask Amit to also share his views. Maybe one statement before I ask Amit to talk about it is, in terms of the talent topic that Jitendra brought in, I mean, there is a huge war for talent around the world. And I hear a lot of news / noise that India is a talent hub. Maybe Amit, if you can take the talent question and also talk about your experience of GCCs.
No, thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here at GCA. So it seems, post-COVID, there has been a gold rush of GCCs, right? And it has, I mean, if you look at some of the statistics, as you were sharing, Ganesh, now GCCs are contributing 2 to 3% of India's GDP, yeah? So yep. Which is also significant. I mean, the way to simplify is, it's like a double engine or triple engine. I will not say government, but like professional sector, because you have a very thriving domestic insurance economy, you have a thriving GCC sector, and then you have a startup ecosystem. And India is like second or third largest ecosystem in the world. So I think it's a fantastic opportunity right now for the talent pool, and particularly insurance talent pool, and we have significant concentration of actuaries here. So I mean, I'll just give you a few examples. Firstly, so last week I was part of couple of delegations from 2 large insurers from Americas who were interested in further expanding their GCC in India or setting up a new GCC. This week, there is an existing GCC who wants to move up the value chain and enhance the capabilities that they would like to develop. And next week, there is a delegation, another one which is actually coming in NCR, where a new global insurer, would like to build up their GCC. So these are just examples to show that there is a massive traction towards India, and the primary reason is talent, yeah? But talent should not be the end game, right? Because we have to leverage talent to build capabilities for our global organization. So while we are talking about GCC, internally within Swiss Re, I'm sure whoever is here would know, I hate calling ourselves as a GCC within Swiss Re. Within Swiss Re, we are just another global organization, global location of the organization. So we call it as Swiss Re India. And this is not just a name, but it's in all spirit, it's the capabilities. We have, for instance, 400 plus actuarial staff here, and for every team, nearly 30 to 50% of the global actuarial setup of those respective function team are actually based out of India, which creates that integral setup. So while talent appears as like the game, but it's the global accountability, capability, the global roles that we can offer, and the interplay that has with the domestic insurance industry creates that unique proposition and exciting career paths for the actuarial colleagues here. So significant opportunities which are existing.
Thanks, Amit. Thank you so much. And I think good you brought this up in terms of, while we commonly use a term to define these organizations as GCC, a lot of them have now, like Swiss Re, completely transformed into nothing but a global location, and also the point on global talent. So I think currently, as per NASSCOM estimates, we have 6,000 plus global roles. This will probably be 3 or 4 times in the next 5 to 10 years. But again, I think that talks about the propensity of the GCCs to grow as well. And just going back to the conversation, Amit had, I think there are almost every 2 weeks there is a new GCC being set up in India, which is an amazing number in terms of the rate of change of growth that we see in this industry today. So moving on to Chris, again, you've probably been on the other side trying to explore when you started the actuarial practice last year. I mean, what have you heard? What have you seen? What's your initial 8-9 months experience in terms of, I mean, do you kind of see this differently from what we see?
No, I'd echo a lot of the comments Amit made. I mean, it's really a sign of how excited we are about the potential of India that, you know, we had an established GCC and we're looking to expand capabilities into sort of, you know, away from technical IT type work to actuarial and business functions. You know, my journey is also an indicative of how committed the organization is, right? Because I moved to Mumbai last July. You know, I'll be here through building the capabilities here. I'm super excited about the early talent that we've already brought in. You know, it's I just see a ton of potential, and I know that, you know, that's why other organizations are coming to India. Just the demographics are sort of much better than a lot of the rest of the world, where young actuaries, early career actuaries are dropping in numbers in some cases, you know, because of the pull of data science and the demographics. So, you know, same perspective, maybe a different starting place.
Perfect. I would like to see you maybe 10 years down the line coming to India and talking about it, your experience of having set up the actuarial practice and how it works at TIAA. So moving on to maybe the next topic, and we had somebody yesterday talk about AI as probably the most abused word. I don't fundamentally disagree, but I think it's also about technology in general, and I think the rate of adoption of technology has been very fast, especially within the GCCs. And I would like to, invite all of you to kind of talk through your experience of what you've seen. How do you see the new entrants to the employment workforce, adopting technology? What are the use cases if you're working on? Not have to be actuarial, but anything in your organization where you feel the actuarial students that are part of this forum, this event, can also take something away and think about what do they need to do in addition to their actuarial credentials. So maybe I can start with Amit with you and then follow with Jitendra as well.
Yeah, I think you go by the theme of disruption. I think the message is clear. So either you disrupt yourself or get disrupted, right? So that again is an opportunity of what can be done. I think I just want to add one more thing because it is also connected with what we just discussed previously. And Chris, I think you also mentioned about that, right? So we always talk about this external ecosystem which is present in India, but we also have to understand for one of the problem statement for large organization is that there are a lot of silos, yeah, which are there. There's a lot of legacy. Sometimes business is viewed as separate from operations, which is viewed as separate from technology. But the new reality of life is it's all integrated, right? So I don't think there is any organization in the world which will say technology and business are not integrated. I mean, from my lens, it's two sides of the same coin, right? Because the business models globally, either they are getting disrupted or there is an opportunity to address those problem statements through technology. But the most important thing is what problem statement you're trying to solve, what is the real business opportunity you want to see, and then leverage the right capability, right technology to accomplish that. So when we talk about AI, Gen AI, I personally believe it's a transformational technology that we are talking about. Of course, whenever the new tech comes, there is extra hype associated. So we overestimate the impact in the short term. But in reality, we always underestimate what it can do in the long term. Now, within Swiss Re, we follow a very focused approach. So we are not into let 1,000 flowers bloom. Yeah, for us, it's very important what business objectives we would like to solve. And we kept 3 key themes, when we talked about Gen AI. So data ingestion, underwriting, and claims. So basically, the entire value chain, how can we actually enhance the efficiency? How can we augment the capabilities of our underwriters? And how can we bring better insights for either a better risk assessment, underwriting decision, or claim settlement? So with that frame, it was very important for us to have a more focused view on how we look at Gen AI. And we have multiple use cases which are in flow. I mean, of course, I can share a few things which are publicly there. So we have our underwriting manual, which gets used by, I don't know, 800,000 global insurance clients across 100 plus countries. Yeah, so it's the life guide, right? I'm sure any life underwriter would be aware of that. Now, a typical underwriter will go through, scan multiple documents, underwriting guidance, if they have to come up with a risk assessment and, whether this risk is in acceptable limits or not. Now, we have deployed GenAI there. It's called Life Guide Scout, which actually enhances the efficiency of the underwriter. It augments the capability of an underwriter because, firstly, the time reduces. You can just chat and try to get all the questions addressed for a specific risk, and which means if time utilized per underwriting submission is less, so you can actually handle more. So it also helps from a protection gap perspective from a societal standpoint. And then, of course, it improves the quality because it's much more consistent. And while there is a lot of expertise, subjectivity coming, but there's also objectivity view, which is going, because then you're talking about those standards are getting applied across the world in a more consistent manner. And similarly, we are also transforming our PNC underwriting system, where firstly, from a data ingestion, we can analyze structured, unstructured, internal, external data. And then from an underwriting standpoint, whether, as you look at various risk exposure reports, so what do you make out of it? For a reinsurer and even for insurance company, contract terms, conditions, what is included, what is excluded is super critical other than pricing. So how do we deploy GenAI to understand what terms we can deploy in a consistent manner, or basis what terms we can do a different pricing? So it will just help the life of or life journey of an underwriter. So these are just some examples. But there is a significant potential on how it can be leveraged on the efficiency, productivity, but then also creating new risk insights, and enhancing the overall quality levels.
Thank you, Amit. Jitendra.
Correct. The experience at Mercer also is pretty much the same, the way Amit was explaining. AI, technology, when I talk about AI, there are a lot of other things also which are happening simultaneously: machine learning, data science, cloud computing. All this together is going to transform the way we operate. And people who will hop onto this skill earlier in their career, they are the ones who are going to be successful in future.
True.
If somebody is thinking that AI is not going to reduce the amount of effort that goes into the processes today, that person is living in fool's paradise. You've got to be ready for it. Next 5 years, many of the processes that we run today on the actuarial field, they will be automated. And some of the examples we are already looking at, in Mercer, we do valuations. We do valuations for more than 5,000 clients. And the data has to be processed. Valuation is a process-heavy, process-driven, data-driven process. So we are spending 40 to 50% time in processing the data. The effort that we are putting in today, can we leverage AI along with data science and coding, etc., to transform that data process so that we can reduce the effort to 20%. Who are the people who are actually driving this change? It's a combination of technology people as well as people who are in the actuarial process. So people who are in the actuarial process, or domain experts for that matter, does not have to be only the actuarial domain. Those are the people, they have to rise to the occasion and learn technology to make that transformation happen. There are several other cases. Large language model, there are enterprise solutions available. I think each and every company today is adopting that. There's a version. I was talking with a few people outside yesterday during lunchtime to realize many companies have adopted their own version of ChatGPTs. And that's quite effective. Now it's up to the workforce, and we have to create an ecosystem where people take advantage of that technology. People take advantage, and some of the things that I can share with what's happening in our companies, we have created kind of a sub-chat bot, which plays the role of a subject matter expert. Somebody who's new to the organization, that person is going to take help from several experts who are sitting next to them. But can ChatGPT version of subject matter expert help the person. And that speeds up the learning process. That's how you're infusing technology in your processes. Actual processes are driven by templates. And today, the source of information for those templates resides in emails, a lot of databases, unstructured PDF documents. Can AI help us automate that to the extent that somebody who's starting with a template can fill up that template within seconds? That's the question we are asking ourselves. And I think in the next couple of years, many of these tasks will be completely automated. People who learn this skill, people who adopt to that technology are the ones who will be more successful.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing is adoption being part of the disruption on the other side of the disruption where we could contribute. And I think going back to, the conversation in the morning around how can you solve problems where an actuary can actually contribute extensively in terms of what can be done. So technology is intertwined with what we do is what I'm hearing. So I'll quickly move on to the next topic because the next two topics are interesting from a student, from a career, from a collaboration perspective. So, and I also want to make sure there are at least a couple of questions from the audience towards the end of the session. So, again, I'll come back to you maybe, Chris. We have a very diverse panel in you where you are exploring the Indian market. How do you see, how do you see the talent landscape? What do you see the demand versus supply? Is there a gap? Is it a good gap to have? We heard a lot of fellows being, who became fellows, this year. How do you see this happening? And also, if you can also help us understand, how do you keep your actuarial teams motivated both in the US and in India to look at progression plans as well?
So firstly, many congratulations to the fellow. I heard a very positive number and many congratulations to the institute as well. Because as I was saying, in India, we have double, triple engine, so we need a lot of fellow actuaries because there is a massive demand. And this demand is across all the levels, right? And even, by the way, technology plays a key role, in really amplifying our talent or accelerate the development of the talent, right? So you can also think of Gen AI coach to a lot of colleagues who are just fresh from the campus and they would like to pursue a specific interest. So significant opportunities exist. Now, when it comes to career pathing, so generally I have seen in many of the cases the tendency is to follow a very linear path, right? So colleagues enter the profession for multiple reasons. So there is a small section of people who know about actuarial insurance industry, so they're driven by that. Then there is a significant large section who gets driven by the compensation, and the attractive prospects. So that's truth, I'm just calling it out. And others are unsure and they want to just explore whether it makes sense or not, and then we'll see. And as they join the actuarial career path, the primary focus is exams. It's like a step-by-step ladder and nothing wrong with it. But that's not the only thing I wanted to highlight, right? And that's always my message, because a lot of time, even at like literally 0 years of experience and someone has cracked 5, 6 exams, has a totally different level of expectation, as they are joining an organization. I think the hunger should be, especially if you're getting into a new role, or at least I am of that view, that if you're getting into your first job, it is about your growth, it's about your learning curve in that organization and not just getting a fancy title or a fancy compensation. So it's not about that exam-driven entitlement, it's the knowledge-driven growth that we should be targeting. So to me, the exams are the starting point. How you translate that that knowledge into more applied intelligence in your respective organization or your field of work to create a business impact, that is what matters the most. Then your understanding of various products, markets, what is the client expectation, customer expectation, how you try to marry that, or from a regulator standpoint, what you would like to do, that's another layer. Right, then the integration between the technology, because I think in the previous sessions I heard there was a lot of discussion around, data scientists vis-a-vis actuaries. For me, I think if there's a problem statement to be solved, it can be solved by anyone, right? And whoever is equipped. I always use this analogy of, Iron Man versus Superman. I mean, there are hardly any Superman, and that's why Superman is alien. But each of you can become an Iron Man right away because you just need a tech suit or a skill set suit, yeah, which you need to wear, and you can amplify your capabilities in a very quick time. And above all, I would say the entire focus on professional skills, behavior, like communication, storytelling, I think that was talked a lot about, as well as this hunger, curiosity, and drive for collaboration and not operating in the silo. So maybe I'm sharing multiple things and you would be thinking that I'm overwhelming you with all this, but you can actually plan all these things together as you're looking for your own professional journey. So don't just limit to exams, but there is a 360-degree dimension that needs to be covered. And if you ignore that, you're ignoring at your own peril.
Thank you. Yes, Chris.
Yes, so I agree. Exams are sort of like one leg of a 3 or 4-legged table. If that's what you're basing your career on, it's not going to stand up. You have to have work drive. You have to have experiences that, teach you how to apply theoretical knowledge. And you have to have really good soft skills if you want to, be successful as an actuary. In terms of the question on what I see talent, in the US where I've hired many ADP level folks and in India, it's very similar. People are, I think, the exam process, the people who enter it, it's sort of, they've self-selected, a lot of pain, honestly, right? There are people who are maybe different than the rest of folks because they're willing to do a multi-year commitment to exams, to building a career, and, when I hear people in other departments, they talk about stereotypes of younger generations. I don't find those to be really true in actuarial populations, whether that's in India or the U.S. So I think it's a really great place to find, especially that early talent. Where I think there's maybe a more of a challenge for some of the GCCs is looking at more senior, more credentialed actuaries where the pool is currently thin, but really growing at a very rapid rate. I see that when we interview, people are going through the exams quickly now. And I think, 2 nights ago we saw maybe the growing wave of fellows that are going to come out of India. So it's exciting to see that as well.
Thanks, Chris. And before I go to Jitendra, congrats for starting out very well in the first few months, having started your practice, because I don't know how many people can really ramp up things so faster. At least maybe a few years back it was unthinkable about. But from a Mercer standpoint, I think we're calling out in terms of the expectation, the business knowledge, career more in terms of learning. So Jitendra, what is your view? What do you think we should?
Not only from Mercer's point of view, I think from entire industry and from Global Capability Center's point of view, the expectations from the teams in India is increasing. It's increasing at a tremendous pace. 15 years back, when we started, we used to think whether we can actually do the work, from doing to checking to becoming consulting reviewers, to the point today, clearly the demand is, can we sign reports from India? Can we do client-facing roles that traditionally have been thought of being done out of the parent location? That's something which is being thought of. And that's quite a change. And this change has happened over the last 3 years. These expectations have changed post-COVID, primarily when everybody started thinking that things can be done out of anywhere in the world. Geographical locations and those boundaries were just an illusion in the mind. And then the second part is the talent landscape. We spoke about it. There is talent available in India. Now it's up to us to take advantage of that. That growth is going to happen. Companies are coming here. They're throwing opportunities at us. Going back to Amit's point, domain knowledge is important.
Yep.
How well can you demonstrate that to the stakeholders, to the clients, is now up to us. Let's take advantage of that. some of the things that we were talking about earlier, and Chris probably was also hinting towards, is at the junior level, the attrition rates are very high. People are thinking about compensation, people are thinking about what kind of a career am I getting into, and those kind of things. We should be thinking about how in the long run we can create that career. And it's up to companies as well to offer those career paths as well. In case you're offering a career path which does not lets you live the aspirations that you have, then it's a problem. So it's both ways. Professionals have to be a little more stable and get into the domain, and probably institute can also help us. Madam President, she is sitting here. Maybe we can have some kind of a stability question for our actuarial students that should go, like you give CPDs. Ma'am, why don't you give something for stability in the jobs as well to the students so that they are motivated to work in the same company for a long time? So those kind of things have to happen. That ecosystem has to be developed to take advantage of opportunities that are coming to India.
Thanks. And just wanted to make two statements before I move on. I concur to the fact that we really do see a lot of high-end complex work that comes across. And in many cases, I think, including principal, we do talk to the regulators directly. The teams in India actually present to the board, present to the regulators. They are involved in a lot of audit-related, I would say, questions and answers. And I think it's a great point in the whole actuarial journey for somebody who actually is more closer to the business than what normally the environment would dictate. But again, and I just go back to what Amit said as well. I think the technology part of it, coupled with talent, is also making a human a superhuman. The whole idea is to adopt and to see how we can move forward. I'll just quickly touch upon, I'm consciously reminded of the time, and I don't want people walking around here showing me the placard because I probably don't like that. But the point here is quickly on collaboration. So my exposure to actuarial practice in the last few years, more actively in the last couple of years, what can we do more in terms of university versus actuarial bodies versus corporates? Maybe I'll start with you, Amit, in terms of your experience, having been part of some of the boards of the education institutions. So what exactly do you think we should be doing more of? Not that it is not happening, but maybe that's something we should focus more of.
Yeah, I think there's a fantastic case I would like to highlight, and I would like to thank the Institute, Dr. Preeti, Arunachalam, and Anurag, right? And I'm saying this also in my capacity as board member of IIRM, right? And with the blessings of the chairman of IIDA, right? So we actually curated a course with IIRM and Institute played a significant role in terms of creating exemptions for this special course, which will be a postgraduate course. And if you complete 2 years of that course, and you'll get 7 or 8 actuarial exam exemption. This is the first of kind program which is coming to India, and you would have heard this program has been there in UK, Malaysia, and various other markets. And I think IIRM is going to launch this in July, August this year. So I just wanted to highlight this strong collaboration opportunity, which is in the working. But I believe more can be done, right, across the entire ecosystem. Because as we are talking about building the actuarial insurance talent pool, we need to raise the awareness, firstly amongst the student community at the high school level, right? And then look at how we can curate some of these courses. And it's also an open invitation to many of the colleagues who are in this forum to act as guest speaker, support in the academia, calendar in terms of designing the courses, etc. So there's a lot of potential which can be accomplished. But we've got a great start, I would say.
Jitendra, your views?
From the perspective of what students should be thinking of, I'm going back to the earlier session where Frank was sharing his experience with Google and how actuaries should become problem solvers. We should infuse some of that in our courses to the extent possible. I think those are great examples. Some of those can actually be changed into a full-time subject if required, how people can leverage data science and technology. And that's something which I'll be looking forward to. And second is a practical experience. Maybe some kind of internships with the organizations, give students a chance to work and explore how these organizations are working, and they can attune themselves right at the student stage to work for that particular organization. Those are the things probably going to help. Practical experience, focus on technology and how to become better problem solvers.
Great, thank you, thanks. Chris, anything that you've seen so far that happens differently in the US that you think we should look at?
Yeah, so the Society of Actuaries has a fairly good program with universities to certify actuarial centers of excellence. You know, there's sort of different levels of you know, certification, but even having, you know, one instructor who really understands actuarial curriculum can make a huge difference at a university in terms of their ability to produce actuaries. So that program, I think, in the U.S. has been very successful, both in the top centers that produce many, many actuaries and are great places, very competitive places to try to hire, to, you know, the smaller schools that maybe just cover a part of the curriculum.
Thank you. So time is up, but I think we should definitely do justice by taking a couple of questions. Briefly, if there are questions in the room, if the mic can reach them. I think I see one gentleman on here. Can we get the mics, please? And please also indicate if you want any specific speaker to answer your question as well. That will be helpful.
Thank you for your very fruitful discussion here. One of the aspect when GCC was set up here in India, apart from your job creation and capital infusement, one of the objective is to bring the technology, the global technology, to the local country. So I think more than 15 years this GCC were present in India. So what is your contribution to develop in the technological side for the technical group? The contribution made by the GCC to the country, which will take it to the Viksit Bharat.
Any one of you can? One of you. Yeah. So
You mean contribution that GCCs are making to
What
the
they
Indian
have made so far in the past 15 years, so that they can take it to 2047 to the country in terms of technological
So maybe if I
development
rephrase
in the
this,
local technical audience, technical population.
the contribution of GCCs to advance the technology agenda to be able to reach the 2047 goal of Viksit Bharat. So how has technology benefited from this GCC, I would say GCC era in the last couple of decades is what I think the question is.
Okay, so we were just trying to understand whether you mean the impact in India, right? I believe that's what you're referring to. So as I was sharing that there is a lot of interlinkages between the global sector and the India-focused sector, right? So there are a lot of colleagues, yeah, who are working for these global enterprises through the GCC route, and they are instrumental and integral in building these capabilities for the group, right? And when we talk about the group also has a direct presence in emerging markets, including India. So you see how these connections actually get established. And as the entire talent ecosystem is fluid in the country, we have multiple examples where colleagues from GCC sector, they move to the direct insurance industries and vice versa. So there is a lot of, I would say, exchange of practices, the understanding which actually helps build that ecosystem. Now, one thing I would like to always highlight is, while we are using the word GCC, and I would like to reiterate that internally for us, it's just a global location, right? And I mean, I was speaking to some of the team members, and they were saying that, for any global organization, there's a lot of legacy system, etc. So Megha is here. She was actually sharing with me a fantastic example of experience analysis team that we have, right, which actually has like a regional, global accountability. Like one colleague, who was going through the legacy systems got so frustrated that the person created a new experience analysis system or the tool, which is now being leveraged by Swiss Re globally and including for the accounts for India, right? So that's like most of the roles of technology are becoming location agnostic. Yeah, that's a point which I'm trying to say. And there is this unique opportunity to unlock the potential that we have. So we want to break the glass ceiling. So if you have people in all these GCC or even the direct insurance companies, how do you imagine the next steps? How do you solve the problems of the future? I think if that is the objective, you will come up with innovative thought process. You will come up with new tech tools which can be deployed globally, including India. But to name those specific things, it's so integral as a world, it's very difficult to do that.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you. Any more questions?
Thank you so much. I would say if we can, in interest of time.
One more question? Asked? No?
Okay, well, quick one. I think sir was raising hand.
Hi, thanks all the panelists for this insightful session. On the technological advancement of India through GCC, I can share a perspective that while we are here at the GCA for the insurance sector, for the actuarial profession, where financial institutions are at the core of this entire theme that we have, but Indian GCCs, when we look at, so financial sectors, this is more around, it starts with execution arm, and then it comes to ownership. But there are GCCs which are purely in R&D. Google, 3M, Bosch, Siemens, even Boeing, they have their centers in India as GCCs, and they are developing products, they are developing technology. So I think that's the role that those GCCs are playing, and I believe they are doing a good job. And it's a snowball effect. Once they train few engineers, they go out, they spread the culture of innovation, R&D, and that's how it is building up. So this is my way of looking at it. Question to Amit regarding evolution journey of your Swiss Re GCC. Every GCC starts with very basic, and then it's from learner to doer to executor to owner and influencer. Sure. What has helped you to breach those ceilings year after year?
Yeah. No, thanks for firstly sharing the perspectives. Very much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, all the GCCs have gone through a journey, and for all the new GCCs, they can leapfrog, right? They don't have to go through that linear sequential journey. So when Swiss Re was set up 24 years ago, it was called as Shared Service Center, and it had a very defined scope of activities for specific geographies. But then we said, no, I mean, there is significant potential to do much beyond. Not necessarily there was always a top-down strategy to start off. And that's where I think the entrepreneurial mindset comes into the picture. And I think this entrepreneurial mindset needs to be in each of the individual leader to say, what are the opportunities, which we can tap on? How can we get to the executive sponsorship with the group CEO, right? It's not just with a specific function, but it should be an enterprise leadership topic, because GCC needs to be fully integral to global organization, and it should be a microcosm, right? I think Jitendra also mentioned. So how do you create that vision that, so today Swiss Re India is like the second largest location of Swiss Re Group after Zurich, which is the headquarter, right? With all the functions, all the capabilities represented. So there was always this bottom-up hunger to create what that next step is. And once you accomplish the next step, again disrupt yourself to create that next evolution cycle. So our current evolution cycle is more based on that, we need to have more global ownership roles, and many of these roles can actually become location agnostic. And if we have the right talent, right capability in India, people can actually play these global roles. And we have quite a few examples currently, across the entire Swiss Re India, and also very specifically within the actuarial community that we have been able to build up. So everything is with us. You need to be bold, courageous, get the alignment at the group CEO level, right, and ensure the credibility is maintained as you're jumping to the next level.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.